Right there. Can you stun?
Come on, lads.
I didn't make it.
Good, good. Oh! I almost come back. Oh.
Hi, Jennifer. Listen.
I really wanted that penta. Not gonna lie to you. What is going on, everybody? This, of course, is Mr. Tony Stark and bringing you another Season 4 build and guide. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Yasuo, the Unforgiven, the new champ. I mean, fairly new. Like, he's been out for a few months now. But I actually recently just picked him up, started playing him a few weeks ago, and I figured I would do this build for my next one in the series. So we're going to get right into it, and we're going to talk about his abilities and his runes, masteries, and eventually the item set. But first, just to talk about him a little bit, he is a melee champ, a high attack damage mid-main champion, but his difficulty is pretty high. In my opinion, once you get to learn him, he is extremely powerful and easy to just dominate. He's a hyper carry. He can definitely change the game from beginning to end depending on how you play. So just going over his abilities, his passive is actually twofold. It's going to be that any critical strike that you build, any crit you build, is actually going to be doubled. So if you have any items that give you more critical strike, it's actually going to double that percentage, which is pretty awesome because you can get it all the way up to 60-80%. And then the second one is actually, as he's moving around, he actually builds up a shield so that shield will deflect a basic attack or an ability on the first strike. So the more you move, the more your shield builds. His Q is called Steel Tempest, and it's a skill shot basic attack. Depending on where you aim it, it will slash out towards a champion or a minion, and after two of those, after you hit two Steel Tempest, he will get a tornado that comes up under his feet, and he can actually cast that, and anything in the line of the tornado will get knocked in the air. And that goes along a little bit with his ultimate, and we'll get into that in just a second. So his W is called the Wind Wall. He throws up a moving wall that blocks any projectiles. So that's any ability whatsoever, as long as it goes up before it hits you. Now, it doesn't block airborne attacks. So like Zig's ultimate or Xerath's ultimate, it won't block that if you throw it up in front of you, because that's going to come down over top of that. But any projectile that's coming straight towards him, he can block that, which is really, really cool, especially against some ranged mid ability power champions. You can really use that to your advantage to farm. So that's going to be definitely a tip to hold on to. So his E is called the Sweeping Blade, and it actually dashes him through an enemy unit, whether it's a champion or a minion or anything like that. It really enables Yasuo to be mobile. And just as a side note, I say Yasuo, it's Yasuo. I mean, it really depends on who you talk to. And if I'm not right, that's fine. I'm going to say Yasuo anyway. But anyway, so his E dashes in and out between enemies, through enemies, champions, whatever. The only thing you want to think about whenever you do that is that you can't dash through the same enemy or champion within 6 seconds. So whenever you're moving around, you can use other minions and things in the area to dash through back and forth. And really, if you combo those together, you can do a ton of damage. So then his R, his ultimate, is the Last Breath, and basically it moves Yasuo from where he is onto an enemy champion that's knocked up. So if you hit somebody with your tornado, an enemy laning champion, with that tornado, you can actually ultimate right onto him. So you can teleport from where you are onto that champion that's knocked in the air, and it slashes through him I think it's three times, and does a ton of damage. So the key thing to note with his ultimate is that it can be used on any champion that's in the area that's knocked in the air, not only if it's done by him. So say Malphite comes in and knocks the champ up, you can ult onto them. If Vi comes in with her ult and knocks them up, you can ult onto that champ. It also will ult onto any of the champs that are in the air, so it does it on multiple as well, which is crazy. if you time it right with your team fights you can just annihilate. So as far as the combos with those go, whenever you throw down the wind wall, you can block the projectiles. That's going to be really important in laning or later in team fights whenever you're about to get flanked and a nid spear is coming in or something like that. You can block that. Whenever you dash through minions or through champions, if you go use your E and your Q at the same time, he'll do a little spin and do a lot of damage to all of the minions or champions in that surrounding area that you're aiming at. So you really want to use the mobility of Yasuo to your advantage in the team fights as well as in laning phase. That's my tips as far as the abilities go. We're going to get right into the runes and the masteries. First with the runes, we use basic AD runes. Go with the attack damage marks, the armor seals, and the magic resist glyphs, and then 3 quints of lifesteal. That's just the basic AD ones that I use. You can flip-flop those. You can add more attack damage, add more magic resist, whatever you feel like you need to do. And the masteries, the same thing. I use a basic 21-9, 21 offense, and 9 defense. And for his item set, I start off with the warding totem, a health potion, and Adorn's blade. And then on the first back, you can kind of gauge where you're going with that. You can see if you're getting a little bit ahead in farm, you can go with the zeal and boots, or you can pick up the vampiric scepter. Some people say you want to get that zeal first, enable that crit strike. You want to get that that critical strike up as fast as you possibly can. So that's probably the best way to do it. If you need a little bit more sustain, you can go with the vampiric scepter. But then overall, your core build is going to be the static shiv. You want to rust that first into an infinity edge, a last whisper, and of course the berserker's greaves. And then you can throw in a warmog's armor, which is also really good on Yasuo. Now situationally, so say you build the static shiv first, but the AP of the enemy laner is really bursting you down. You can pick up a hex drinker, which is going to throw in that attack damage, but add magic resist as well. Eventually, you can pick up the Banshee's Veil if you feel like you really need it. Again, for some more sustain, some people I've seen build the Bloodthirster, and then of course very at the end, you can either pick up a Guardian Angel or some Thornmail. So that's my build for Yasuo. Hopefully it will help you. Again, these builds are for your basic players that need some tips and tricks to get a little bit better at these champions. Of course, if you are a pro or anything above gold, probably you already have your own setup and what you're going to be building towards. And you probably won't need any kind of build guide per se. But this is for the League of Legends players that really are struggling maybe with some mechanics and some fundamentals in game, and hopefully it'll help you out. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Until next time,